Okay, that story is The Elf. A long time ago, probably like 300, 400 years ago, there was a king, and this king had 3 daughters. And this king lived in a beautiful castle, and he also had a palace garden. Palace garden means the garden where this beautiful garden that belonged to the castle. Palace is a place where king lives. So there was a big palace garden, and this king was fond of all kinds of trees. He liked different kinds of trees, like pine trees, oak trees, elm trees, apple trees. And he had all kinds of trees in his palace garden. But especially he liked this apple tree. He really liked this apple tree. And so he said, when this apple tree gave lots and lots of fruits, the apples, he said, do not take one fruit out of this tree. He forbade, he did not want anybody to eat this apple. But when the harvest time came, when the fall came, and when the harvest time, when people go and pick the apples came, the apples were very, very red as blood. It was very red, and it looked so good, and it smelled so good too. These 3 sisters used to go to this apple tree and sat beneath the apple tree. Beneath means under the apple tree. And they looked at this apple tree, and they looked at the fruits, and they said, oh, I wish the wind will blow down one of the apples so we can taste one. But they did not have any luck, and the wind didn't come and blow any of the apples down. So they really wanted. But the king did not want anybody to be taking this apple, so he said, if anybody took this apple, I wish the person will go down into deep under the ground, so the person will be buried under the ground and will not come out. Well, this was a curse that he gave. It was not that he did himself, but he just wished something like that would happen because he did not want the apples to be stolen. Well, one day, the 3 daughters were out in the garden, and the youngest daughter said, oh, I wish I'd like to have one of these apples. And she said, I am sure my father does not really mean when he says, I want someone to go down under the ground, deep under the ground, when someone eats my apple. He probably means it for the strangers, the people he doesn't know. He probably doesn't mean it for us because he loves us, because we are his daughters. He loves us so much that he doesn't mean it. So she said, I think it's all right. And so she plucked off an apple and she ate it. And oh, it tasted so delightfully. It tasted so great. And so she took this apple to her sisters and said, sisters, take a bite, eat it. It's very, very good. And so 2 other sisters ate some. But immediately after they ate the apple, they sank. They sank into the earth, deep into the earth, like 600 feet down. 600 feet down is like 183 meters down, I think. Anyway, so 600 meters down. Now, noontime came at midday. The king had this big dinner for his family, and he called his daughters, but the daughters didn't come. And he looked for his daughters, but he couldn't find his daughters. The daughters were not anywhere. He could not find them. And so he was very, very worried, and so he said to people in the country, please go find my daughters. If you could find my daughters, anyone can find my daughters, he can take one of them as his wife, and so he can marry one of my daughters. So please go find my daughters, he said. So many men went everywhere in the country to go and they went to look for these 3 princesses. But they couldn't find the princess because the princess was down under the ground. Well, one day, three huntsmen means hunters, three young huntsmen came, and they wanted to go and look for the three princesses. So they looked and looked for 8 days, but they couldn't find the daughters. And finally they came to this big, beautiful castle. They went into the castle, but nobody was there, and they couldn't hear anybody. No human beings lived there. But in one of the rooms there was a table, and there was a beautiful dinner on the table. It was a delicate dish. There were delicate dishes on the table. And it was smelling very good, and it looked so warm, and it smelled, and it was smoking. There was not smoke, but the smell was coming out of the food, and oh, it was good. But then they waited for a half a day. They waited, maybe somebody might come back and things. So they waited for half a day, but nobody came. Finally, they became very hungry, so they ate the food. And they decided to stay in that castle. And then they said to each other, maybe one of us will stay in the castle and two of us will go out into the forest and look for the princesses. Every day we'll take turns. One person will stay and two will go. So they cast lots. Cast lots means they threw like stones or something to find out which one's going to stay and which ones are going to go out to the forest. So they cast lots, and it happened that the eldest eldest brother was going to stay on the first day, and so he stayed on the first day, and two younger ones went to the forest. Now the eldest brother was staying in the castle, and at lunchtime there was dinner, and so he was eating, and then suddenly Mannequin is an elf, a small man. I don't know how small he was, maybe about 50 centimeters tall. The small Mannequin came, and he said, please give me a piece of bread. He begged for a piece of bread. Beg means please give me. He begged for a piece of bread. And so the eldest brother said, okay, and he cut the bread, and he was about to give the bread, it means was going to give, because he was about to give the bread to the Mannequin. Mannequin took the bread and he let it fall, means he dropped it. And then Mannequin said to the eldest brother, please pick it up. And the brother said, all right, and he bent down. He stooped. Stoop means go like this. He stooped over the bread. He was going to pick it up. But then the Mannequin seized him by his hair. Seized means grabbed the eldest brother by the hair. And with a stick, the Mannequin began to beat the eldest brother. Bang, bang, bang. And after a lot of beating, the Mannequin disappeared, vanished, gone. Two brothers came home, and they said, how was it today at home? And then the eldest brother didn't talk to the youngest brother, but then said to the second brother, oh, it was really bad, this happened, the Mannequin came and this and that. And so the next day, the second brother stayed, and then the oldest brother and the youngest brother went into the forest. The same thing happened. At noontime, the Mannequin came and begged for a piece of bread. And so the second brother said, all right, and he cut the bread, and he was about to give the bread to the Mannequin, but the Mannequin let it fall, dropped it, and he demanded, he said, pick it up. And so the second brother stooped over the bread, and he was going to pick it up, but then the Mannequin seized him by the hair and beat the second brother again for a long time. And so at the end of the day, the two brothers came home and they said what happened. But the second brother did not say anything to this youngest brother. First brother and the second brother just talked to each other, and they lamented their misfortune. Lamented means they talked about it and they cried about it. Misfortune, bad luck, oh gee, we had this stupid man came and he beat us, type of thing. So they talked, but they didn't say anything about this to the youngest brother, because two older brothers did not like the youngest brother. They called him stupid Hans. Stupid means foolish, stupid Hans. Oh, we don't like that stupid Hans. So, on the third day, two older brothers went to the forest and the youngest brother stayed home. At lunchtime, the same thing happened. The mannequin came and said, please give me a piece of bread. And so the youngest brother, Hans, cut the bread and cut a piece of bread and was going to give the bread to the mannequin. Mannequin again let it fall, and he said, he demanded, please pick it up. But the third brother, Hans, said, what? You want me to pick up your bread? He said, you dropped it, and so you pick it up. If you don't want to pick it up, then you don't deserve to get the food. You don't deserve means you're not good enough to get the bread. Pick it up yourself. And then the mannequin said, no, you pick it up. And so Hans got mad, and Hans grabbed the mannequin and beat the mannequin with a stick. Bang, 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 bang. The mannequin said, stop, stop. But the Hans didn't stop. He kept beating the mannequin. And then the mannequin said, I will tell you where the three princesses are. So Hans said, all right, where are the princesses? And he said, I will show you. I will take you to the place. The princesses are under the well, dry well. Well is a place where you go and get some water, but it's a dry well, so no water is in the hole. So mannequin took the Hans to this well, dry well, and he said, there underneath, there are three princesses. Under the well, or at the bottom of the well, there are 3 rooms. In each room, each princess sit there, and they are taking care of a dragon. Dragon is a big monster, but this dragon is a very a special dragon. This dragon has many heads, many-headed, like 3 heads or 5 heads or 9 heads, many-headed dragons. A dragon is in each room, and 3 princesses are combing the dragon's hair, combing the hair and trimming the hair, and so they are taking care of the dragon. You go down there and cut the dragon's head, and then you can save the princesses. He said, first you must make a basket, and then you have to lower you get in on the basket. You have to go down the bottom of the well, and you bring the knife, and you have to cut the dragon's head, and you bring the princesses up. Somebody have to pull the princesses up. But then he said, you have to do this with your 2 brothers, but be careful, the mannequin said. Your 2 brothers are not very good people. They do not intend to deal with you honorably. They don't mean to do the business with you fairly. So be careful with your older brothers. So, the youngest brother, Hans, said, all right, I will be very, very careful. Now, the older brothers came home. The older brothers came home, and they said, what happened? And so the Hans said, oh, the mannequin came, but then I beat him, and then the mannequin told me where the princesses are. Well, the older brothers became very, very jealous because Hans found out where the younger brothers were. Okay. We can cut and edit, maybe?
Okay.
Okay. So, okay. The youngest brother, okay, okay. The older brothers came home, and they asked, what happened today? And so Hans said, the mannequin came, but I beat him up, and the mannequin told me where the princesses are. And so, but the older brothers were not very happy. They were very, very jealous that the youngest brother found out where the princesses were. But they said, okay, let's go find out, deliver the princesses from the hall. So they made a big basket, and they got this big knife, and then they got this big bell. So one will go down and rescue a princess, and when the basket should be lifted up, they should ring the bell. And then with the knife, they should kill, one of them should kill the dragon. So they again cast lots through the dice of stones to see which one's going to go first. And then the eldest brother was chosen to go first. So the eldest brother got on the basket and he was lowered. But he only went for a short distance, just a little bit. And then because he was very scared, he rang the bell. He said, please lift me up. And so they lifted him up. And then the second brother got in the basket and went down, but he also got very scared. And so after a short distance, he rang the bell and he was lifted up. So it was the third time the youngest brother, Hans, got in the basket, and Hans went down, 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 all the way to the bottom of the well. When he came down to the bottom of the well, he looked and there were 3 doors. And he listened, and then he heard snoring. There was a big snoring. The dragon was sleeping and snoring, and so he quietly opened the door. And when he quietly opened the door, he saw a princess sitting, and on her lap, here's a lap, on her lap, she had 9 heads, dragon's heads on her lap. And princess saw Hans coming in the room, and she was very happy. And Hans said, be quiet. They quietly took the dragon's head on the floor, and with the knife, with a big sword, Hans cut off dragon's heads. Bang, bang, bang. And then dragon's dead. And so he rescued, he helped, he saved the first princess. The first princess was so happy. She embraced him and she kissed him without stopping. Without stopping means she didn't stop. She kept kissing him. And he said, I've got to go and help 2 other sisters. And so he went outside and he listened again to the second door, and then he heard the snoring. So he went inside and he killed the dragons, and he rescued the second one. And he rescued the third one as well. Likewise, just like before, likewise, he saved the third one. So he killed 3 dragons. Now, first he put the first princess, he placed the first princess in the basket, and he rang the bell loud enough so the 2 brothers could hear it. So 2 brothers pulled the basket, and they saved the first princess. And then they saved the second princess, one after, and then the third princess, one after the other. And so they saved 3 sisters. Now it was turn for Hans to go up, but Hans remembered. The mannequin had advised him before, these 2 brothers are not very good people. These 2 brothers intend to deal with him not honorably. So he put the big rock in the basket, and he rang the bell. And then the 2 brothers pulled the basket up and up, but only to halfway up. And then they cut the rope, and so the basket came down and then crashed. If Hans had been in the basket, Hans would have been dead. But the 2 brothers thought, Hans is dead. So they said, 2 brothers said to the 3 princesses, do not tell about Hans to your father. You tell your father that we 2 saved you. You must promise. So the girls said, okay, we will promise. And so 2 brothers took the 3 daughters back to the castle, and they said, they demanded, they wanted to be married to one of the princesses. And the king said, sure, okay. But Hans was at the bottom of the well, and he was so sure that he was going to die in the well. And he didn't know what to do. He looked at the dead dragons and thought, they cannot help me anymore. and he didn't know what to do. He walked back and forth and back and forth. He didn't know what to do. And then finally he saw, strangely, there was a flute on the wall. And he thought, what is a flute doing here in this room? And he picked it up and he didn't know what to do with it. But after a while he thought maybe he'll play the flute. So he played a few notes, you know, beep, 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 few notes. And then guess what? A number of mannequins appeared. Number of means some or many, number of 4, 5, 6, 7, number of mannequins, small people, appeared. And he said, whoo! And so he played a little more, and then more mannequins appeared, and he played a lot more, and then hundreds of mannequins appeared. And they said, what do you desire? What do you want? So Hans said, I want to go up there, up on the ground. And so they helped him to get up on the ground. Now, as soon as he got up on the ground, he ran to the castle. He ran to the castle and he went to the king's room. And when he came to the king's room, there were 3 daughters there. And when the 3 daughters saw Hans, they fainted, because they had thought the Hans had died, but then Hans appeared, and so they fainted. They lost consciousness. So they fainted. And then King thought, Hans must have done something wrong to the children, his children. King thought Hans must have done some injuries to his daughters, and therefore King became very angry. See, King misunderstood. King became very angry, and he put Hans into the prison. He put him in the prison. A prison is a place where bad people go. And then 2 girls were going to get married to the brothers, but then the 3 daughters became very, very uneasy about this. They had promised that they will not talk to the king about Hans at all. They had promised to the brothers that they won't tell the truth. But then Hans was the one who saved them from the dragons, but the Hans was now in the prison, so the princesses felt so bad. Finally, the princesses said to their father, King, father, please allow us, please permit us, allow us to tell you the truth. I did promise to the 2 huntsmen that we will not tell you this, but please allow us to tell you the truth. And so the king said, sure, tell me the truth. And so the daughters told the truth, which was Hans was the one who came down the well and delivered them from the dragons. And then King became a lot more angrier, and the 2 huntsmen, 2 brothers, were finally hung on the gallows. Hung means on the gallows is a place where they hung people. So the 2 brothers died, and Hans got married to the youngest princess. The end.